Alrighty.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Nico and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair. I'm wearing a black headset, brown and blue spectacles, and a black thermal shirt. I'm seated in an indoor setting against some bookcases and a purple wall. And, like about 25% of the US population, I'm disabled. Non disabled individuals might see our lives as tragic, sad, pitiful, but I don't know, guys. I've been disabled a really long time, and I imagine there's also room for disabled joy. I'd be very bored very quickly if I could only ever feel one emotion, regardless of what that emotion might be. However, the disability community has as many opinions as it has members, which is why I've asked my friend Alexis here today to talk with me about disabled joy. Hi, Alexis. How are you doing?
Hey Nico, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Can you share a joyful memory with me? It could intersect with your disability, or it could be totally independent. Either is fine.
So I have a lot of joyful memories, but just to give you a background, I have this crazy little genetic quirk that gives me chronically low serotonin and dopamine levels. So joy is really hard to find unless I make a concerted effort to do so. So I'm constantly trying to do that. And I get the most joy out of people and adventures. And so some of my best memories are meeting new people and going on adventures. So it's a bit of both worlds. Specifically back in like 2015, I met this girl that we were starting out seeing like, hey, would dating be a thing? And the answer to that was no. However, she introduced me to social dancing, and the second time that we met up, she's like, hey, you want to go to this party up in the Poconos? It's like a 24-hour dance party. I'm like, my mind is absolutely blown. So I ended up in a car with one person I barely knew and two other people who I didn't know at all. And we were on this road trip for 2.5 hours up to Scranton. And I entered the most magical party that I've ever been to in my life. And it was like walking into Dirty Dancing, except for the lights were turned down low and everybody was wearing like fluorescent clothing. And there was just all this dancing and joy. And Um, I I went down into the basement where 100 of our now closest friends were sleeping for the night, and yeah, that was the beginning of my dancing magic. And so I go on these adventures to chase that joy through dancing quite frequently now.
That sounds incredible. And what a way to get involved in the dancing community. Go hard or go home, I suppose. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
How has your disability impacted or intersected with your um, pursuit of happiness or your pursuit of joy?
Mm. I I was kind of treated as a pariah in my family for a long, long time. My mom was the only one who really was like, okay, we know something's going on, and trying to pursue that. But I also have an older sister, a much older sister actually, and she always thought of me as a nasty, spoiled little kid who was lazy. When it turns out it was just autism and all its relating stuff. So as my disability relates to joy, like I have to be mindful of everything. Um, it's so built into me that I give freely. I give love and joy and everything freely. And I don't like hurting people. But at the same time, I was treated like I was, my relationship was transactional. And on one hand, that's given me resiliency. So I keep the bar low for people so that they don't disappoint me. And so I'm able to have joy. Even if they can't give me what I need, I accept them for who they are. And then, that doesn't bring me down. But on the other hand, it shortchanges me because I don't, I was never led to believe that I deserved joy and love and happiness. So I've had a whole journey of people who have taught me how to have joy and um, what good relationships look like, which filters into having joy. So yeah, it's the mindfulness is at the bottom of it, and the other part of it is just taking what I can get where I can get it and making the most out of every situation. Um, and it goes back to people and adventures. And so if I treat places that I go like I'm just going like as a little kid, like how would a little kid see it? Then I have the perspective of, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing in the world. But it's really unfortunate that it took the circumstances that I went through to have to look at things like that.
Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, friend. I'm really sorry to hear that you had that not great background and you had people perceive you for being someone that you really aren't. I'm
Mhm.
sorry you got shortchanged in that way. Although, the coping mechanisms that you have now do serve you. I wish it could have been under better circumstances. Uh,
Don't we all?
Amen. Amen. Alexis, what one thing do you want other people to know about disability or about disabled quality of life?
Oh, it's expensive.
Yes, it is.
It is like from not being employed. So just coming from an autistic point of view, there are less than 28% of us that are employed, and of that 28%, 25%, most of us are underemployed. So trying to maintain a quality of life. And the thing is, like, we're no different than any other person, right? We've got hopes, we've got dreams. We have social needs that intersect with other people like us. So I know that talking with other autistic people, there's nothing wrong with our communication, right? We get along perfectly, we understand each other perfectly. So we have this world going on there, and if you translate it into neurotypical, we, like I said, we have hopes and dreams and plans just like everyone else would, but because of lack of support and lack of knowledge, we are unable to achieve what we're capable of, and we're unable to maybe travel and do things that make us happy just like everyone else. Instead, we're paying more for healthcare, we're paying more for um, supports that insurance companies don't deem needed, but to have a good quality of life are pretty much essential to us. Um, that women and people of color even get more of a short change than a regular disabled cis white man, because things present differently, and when you have double, triple, whatever oppressed populations, um, it's just gonna be way harder. And as a cisgendered white woman who is not straight, but neither here nor there, um, it's I don't present like the stereotypical autistic person. And that delayed so much of the support that I could have gotten in school. It could have, like, instead of taking 10 years for an associate's degree because of autistic burnout and all the other good stuff that, it just looked like depression or me being lazy. Again, it rears its ugly head. Um, I I could have had support. I could have been in and out of college, and um, I just think like even though I'm living back at home, I am so much more fortunate than a lot of other disabled people. And again, especially disabled people of color who may not have the resources that I do, even as small as they are, right? Um, I'm lucky enough that my mom was able to buy her own home. It's small and it's humble, but we didn't have that block to generational wealth, right? Um, yeah, so part of my disability is with the autism is having a log jam in my brain. So there's so much going on there and a funnel essentially for it all to come out. Um, I just want neurotypical people to know that we're here, whether we're verbal, we're nonverbal, whether we look like we're disabled or we don't. Like it's still there and it's still affecting us all of the time, whether you see it or not, because it's very internal and there's a lot of masking going on, which depletes our mental resources. And that could be the difference between seeing you and having a smile and not, even though inside we may recognize you and go, oh, hey, there's this person that we, adore. But on the outside, you're seeing a flat effect. And that can go for any disability too. Um, I think like disabled people, we have the best senses of humor. And um, we get to a point where you've had to jump through so many hoops that you're not afraid to tell it like it is. And I think it's a refreshing honesty that we've earned.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I really love one thing that you said, and you had an actual complete sentence. The one thing that you want neurotypical people to know is that autistic people are here, all disabled people are here, whether we seem it or not. And yeah, everybody's paying the disability tax, even if it doesn't seem like it, all the
Hmm.
time. And sometimes that tax is quite heavy, my friend.
Yeah, like I was lucky enough that my insurance through Obamacare actually
Mhm.
paid for my assessment, and that was at age 38. But there's so many other people who don't have that luxury, and it can cost upwards of $2,000.
Oh,
And
yes.
if you're already struggling in life and you don't have that money, you can't pay with something that you don't have to get the supports that you need and that you legally and morally deserve.
Yeah, the barrier to entry, the price locked barrier to entry is ridiculously high, and it's only getting higher. I see you in that. This brings me to my last question, and hopefully like a little more lighthearted question. It's one that I
Okay.
ask all of my interviewees, regardless of project. Do you have a recent win that you're celebrating that we can help celebrate with you? Or if not, where can people find you online? What cool stuff are you doing? This is your like soapbox cheerleader question. So go all out, promote yourself.
Um, well, I finally made it into my senior year of college. I
Okay.
have two associate's degrees. It took forever. And then I was finally able to find a program that allowed me to do a 3-in-1. And this will be at my, this will be like through a local community college type associated with other cities across the country and even the world that, we have people who just they'll go visit another city and then they'll dance there and then it just goes, people plan vacations around these cities just so that they can dance. And we just have like a group of us getting together and we're starting to put in the works a DEI protocol for people who are disabled and people who are neurodivergent so that when we travel to big weekends that there are protocols in place so that neurodivergent people and disabled people feel welcome and that they're able to do things like preview an airport that they may be landing in or making sure that they're staying with a host that may be ND themselves or be ND friendly. Um, things like weekly, we also have like weekly and monthly events on the local level. And just to make sure that there are people at that event that know how to handle people with a disability and can direct them to the appropriate resources there too. And we want to make sure, like, we want to get this off the ground to make sure it's standardized so that anybody, they'll have like a stamp of approval that says, hey, we were trained, we were vetted, and this is what's going on. This is a safe space. So like I'm huge into DEI work.
Thank you for making that access plan for disabled people. You love to see it. Alexis, thank you so much for joining me, and I'm wishing you the best in all of your 24-hour dance parties moving forward.
Nico, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure,
Of
and
course.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Audience out there, tune in next time, and remember, I'm rooting for you.